The large numbers on the ransom note burned Traoré's eyes. 72 hours left. With each passing hour, his brother adjutant was getting closer to death. Intelligence Chief Marcel approached with a worried expression and said they had identified the kidnappers. They were French special forces. When Traoré asked in shock what this meant, Marcel explained that this wasn't an official operation. They were mercenaries, but there were major powers behind them. Traoré angrily stood up and declared that they were trying to bring him to his knees this way. Marcel confirmed he was right, saying the plan was working and that if the people learned his brother had been kidnapped, they might ask him to step down. Traoré declared with determination that he would neither lose his brother nor abandon his country. But how? How would he save both? This nightmare had begun 72 hours earlier. Adjutant Chef Abdoulaye Traoré was Ibrahim's younger brother by 2 years and one of the country's most experienced military commanders. Since childhood, the two brothers had been very close to each other. They had grown up in the same village, attended the same schools, joined the military academy together, and served together in the Burkina Faso army. While Ibrahim turned toward political leadership, Abdoulaye chose to specialize in the military field. Abdoulaye was the person Ibrahim trusted most. He was not only his brother but also his closest advisor, confidant, and supporter. Ibrahim always sought his opinion on critical decisions and relied on him during difficult times. Abdoulaye also completely believed in his older brother's vision and supported the struggle for Burkina Faso's true independence. That evening, Abdoulaye was returning to his home in a quiet neighborhood of Ouagadougou, as he always did. His wife Fatou and 2 young children were waiting for him. As he approached his house door, he noticed 2 men getting out of a dark vehicle and walking toward him. As an experienced soldier, he immediately sensed the danger and tried to reach for his weapon. But the men were very fast. The first man professionally neutralized Abdoulaye while the second kept watch over the surroundings. The operation lasted only a few seconds. Abdoulaye was knocked unconscious with a narcotic substance and carried to the car. The only witness was an elderly woman who saw the situation from a neighboring house, but she couldn't distinguish clear details in the darkness. When Abdoulaye didn't come to work the next morning, his worried colleagues called his home. Fatou answered the door and said her husband hadn't returned home that night and she was very worried. Abdoulaye's assistant immediately informed Ibrahim of the situation. Initially, Ibrahim thought his brother might have gone somewhere else for an urgent mission. However, as hours passed and no news came from Abdoulaye, his anxiety increased. Security forces were mobilized, hospitals were checked, and questions were asked to close associates. Late that night, a phone call came to Ibrahim's private line. The caller was someone who had disguised their identity using an electronic voice changer. Speaking in a cold and calculated tone, Ibrahim Traoré, "Are you looking for your brother?" Ibrahim's heart stopped. "Did you take Abdoulaye? Did you harm him?" "He's safe for now. But how long this situation lasts depends entirely on you. What do you want?" "Tomorrow morning you'll receive a package by mail. It contains instructions. You have 72 hours. The line went dead. Ibrahim couldn't sleep at all that night. Early in the morning, the expected package arrived. Inside was a photograph, an audio recording, and written instructions. In the photograph, Abdoulaye was sitting in a chair with his hands tied and eyes closed. It was clear he was alive but looked tired and worried. In the audio recording, with Abdoulaye's own voice, were these words, "Brother, I'm fine. Please do what they want. Don't risk the country for me." The written instructions contained the following. Ibrahim Traoré, your brother is safe. For now. If you want to get him back alive and well, you must fulfill these conditions. Stop the nationalization process of gold mines and return them to French companies. Cancel agreements made with Russian and Chinese partners. Return to the CFA franc system. Reverse the decision to close the French military base. You have 72 hours. We want to hear from you every 24 hours. Your brother's life depends on accepting these conditions. If you involve the police, army, or intelligence, you'll never see him again. After reading the letter, Ibrahim remained silent for a long time. This blackmail was not just an operation targeting his brother. It was a systematic attack aimed at collapsing Burkina Faso's independence struggle. When he held an emergency meeting with intelligence chief Marcel, he fully understood the severity of the situation. Marcel believed the kidnappers were professional, probably trained by foreign special forces. He noted that finding traces would be very difficult. "President, there's a major organization behind this operation. Your brother's kidnapping is not a coincidence. At the most critical time, they're hitting you at your weakest point." Ibrahim was aware of the situation. The reformist decisions he had made in recent months, especially steps aimed at breaking traditional ties with France, had caused major reactions. However, He was proceeding determinedly on this path with his people's support behind him. Now they were forcing him to step back by taking hostage the person he loved most, his only surviving family member. Making the right decision in this situation was very difficult both personally and in terms of leadership. In the first 24 hours, Ibrahim evaluated his options. He could accept their demands to save his brother, but in that case he would have disappointed millions of Burkinab. Alternatively, he could organize a secret rescue operation, but this would also risk Abdoulah's life. Marcel's intelligence networks were working, trying to find the kidnapper's location. However, when they realized they were facing a professional operation, they had to accept that it wouldn't be easy. On the second day, a new audio recording arrived. This time Abdullah looked more tired, but still maintained his determination. "Brother, did you hear me? I'm fine, but I'm very worried. Not just for myself, but for our country. These people want a lot from you. Please don't make wrong decisions for me. I'm a soldier. My duty is to protect my country. You're doing the same duty. Don't give up this duty." This message both made Ibrahim proud and saddened him. Even under threat of death, his brother was thinking about his country. This courage and sacrifice further strengthened Ibrahim's determination. The same day, Marcel brought important intelligence. It was estimated that the kidnappers were hiding outside Burkina Faso's borders, probably in a neighboring country. This made the rescue operation even more complex. "President, they probably took your brother out of the country. In this case, classic police operations won't work. We may need to use diplomatic channels as well." When Ibrahim received this news, he better understood the international dimension of the situation. This wasn't just a kidnapping incident, but a systematic pressure campaign against Burkina Faso. On the afternoon of the third day, he received a critical phone call. This time there was a different voice on the other end, more official, more authoritarian. "Ibrahim Traoré, your time is running out. You have the last 24 hours left. Have you made your decision? I want to talk to my brother. He's not available right now, but know that every passing hour is getting worse for him. Let me tell you this, you cannot make me surrender with these methods. I will find my brother and punish those responsible. You're very confident in yourself. But don't forget, you have something very valuable in our hands. And can you afford to lose him?" This conversation made Ibrahim very angry. However, at the same time, he understood that his brother was really in great danger. That evening, he discussed final strategies with Marcel. According to intelligence reports, it was thought that the kidnappers were hiding in a region on the Mali border. However, the exact location was still unclear. "President, there's a risky plan. We can conduct a cross-border operation with our special forces. But there's no guarantee of success and your brother's life is in danger." Ibrahim faced a difficult decision. An active rescue operation could result in Abdoulah's death. However, accepting the blackmailer's demands would also mean destroying his country. That night, he thought to himself for a long time. If Abdullah were in his position, what would he do? He would definitely protect his country's interests and put personal security second. On the morning of the final day, Marcel brought the last intelligence news. "President, we found your brother's location. We think he's being held in an old mining facility 50 kilometers inside the Mali border. We can prepare for a rescue operation." Ibrahim thought for a long time. This operation would be very risky, but surrendering to the blackmailers was also unacceptable. "Marcel, start the operation. But my brother's safety should be the top priority." That night, Burkina Faso Special Forces launched a secret cross-border operation. Ibrahim was risking everything to save his brother. The operation lasted 3 hours. Initial reports were positive. Abdullah had been found alive, most of the kidnappers had been captured or neutralized. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Ibrahim spoke with his brother on the phone. "Brother, thank you for saving me. But I'm most proud that you didn't sell your country." This incident once again proved Ibrahim Traoré's leadership determination. It showed that he didn't put personal interests above his country's interests and could make the right decisions even in the most difficult moments. At the same time, it revealed how systematic and ruthless external interventions against Burkina Faso could be. However, Ibrahim's determination and his people's support became the strongest shield against such pressures. The operation to save his brother had been successful, but the real victory was that he hadn't given up the struggle he was waging for his principles and his country. The psychological warfare tactics used by the kidnappers represented a new form of neo-colonial pressure. By targeting family members of African leaders, foreign powers were attempting to undermine independence movements from within. However, Ibrahim's response demonstrated that such tactics could backfire when met with principled resistance. The successful rescue operation also showcased Burkina Faso's growing military capabilities and regional reach. The cross-border operation required sophisticated planning, intelligence gathering, and execution, capabilities that many had not expected from the country's armed forces. In the aftermath of the crisis, Ibrahim implemented new security protocols for high-ranking officials and their families. The incident had exposed vulnerabilities that needed to be addressed to prevent similar attempts in the future. The international community's response to the kidnapping was mixed. While some condemned the act as terrorism, others remained notably silent, raising questions about complicity or tacit approval of pressure tactics against African leaders pursuing independent policies. For Ibrahim personally, the crisis reinforced the heavy burden of leadership in post-colonial Africa. Every decision carried not just political consequences but potential threats to loved ones. Yet his handling of the situation strengthened his resolve and demonstrated to both supporters and critics that his commitment to Burkina Faso's sovereignty was unwavering. The rescue of Abdoulaye became a symbol of resistance against foreign interference and a testament to the principle that a nation's independence should never be held hostage to personal threats. It marked a turning point in Ibrahim's presidency, after which he would face future challenges with the confidence that comes from having been tested in the crucible of impossible choices and emerging with integrity intact. The brotherhood between Ibrahim and Abdoulaye also emerged stronger from the ordeal. Their shared commitment to Burkina Faso's freedom had been tested under the most extreme circumstances and had proven unbreakable. This personal bond would continue to serve as a source of strength for Ibrahim's leadership and a symbol of the loyalty and sacrifice required to achieve true independence in modern Africa.